actually inside the lobby of Urban Soul Radio, one of the biggest stations in Long Beach, and I'm going to be doing an interview. Says it all. How's it going, man? Good, good.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Just did the first sound check.
You listen to Q's Lounge on Urban Soul Radio. I have a special guest, Akira, an American DJ, artist, songwriter, and producer in the house. Here to talk about a couple of things that he has going on, namely one of them, his album release on 12/12 of this year. By the end of the night, you'll get to know who he is and what he's doing and what he's into. Straight up guy. I really appreciate him for, coming in on such short notice.
Lucky to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. I do appreciate that.
Thank you all to the Urban Soul Radio regular listeners. Those of you that might not know who I am, my name is Akira with 2 Ks, DJ, artist, singer, songwriter, producer. Thank you so much for being here, giving us your ears, and hopefully we'll be able to, all learn something, I guess, tonight.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Akira Nation for those of you that do know me, those of you tuning in, always following. Thank you so much for being here. To answer your question, I love that question. The question was, what truth are you ignoring currently?
Yeah, what harsh truths do you prefer to ignore?
I was just talking about this on the phone earlier today. A big part of what I do is pretty reliant on being as truthful as possible, as honest as possible, as just transparent as you can be in order to succeed, in order to be able to achieve your goals and things like that. So I was just talking to everyone on my team this morning about failure, how we're not talking about it enough. We're ignoring the fact that this can fail or that could fail. Why are we talking about this is going to work or let's wait until this works?
That's what I'm talking about.
We should be kind of acknowledging the fact that anything can fail at any time. So we have to, that's the truth that was ignored, I think, this morning. So yeah,
that's cool, man. That's cool.
Just knowing that you're holding the cards, yes, but you can drop the cards at any time.
Absolutely.
Nothing is guaranteed. You have to always, I live in a world of expecting things not to work out, and then when they do, I'm pretty stoked. So that I work twice as hard, kind of. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah. That's good one.
That's the first thing I did was I went to your social media and I checked it out, and I was just like amazed. You're listening to Q's Lounge on Urban Soul Radio. I have special guest host Akira in the house of Akira's World. Be sure to go to YouTube, right?
There's a few places. So mainly Snapchat is where I'm kind of like sharing my story.
Beautiful.
At Akira World with 2 Ks, AKKIRA World. You can follow me on Snap right now.
I'm going to be sure next time I say Akira, I'm going to follow up by AKKIRA.
Thank you.
So we're going to make sure we get that for sure.
2 Ks.
Now, what things, Akira, do you do in your relationship to kind of keep the peace, make sure that there's peace and love in your relationship? What do you do then?
I love this. Q and I talked about music for like over an hour, had so much in common, and then here we are and we're talking about love. I love it. Totally didn't expect it, and I'm actually even happier that we're talking about this instead, because it's such a real topic, and it's actually basically what my music is for, is to inspire positivity, just all pretty much everything we're probably going to get into. And
what are the things that you do with your loved one to keep keep the peace?
Things that I do to try to keep the peace, I think, is all across the board maybe same, which is basically just always be honest. Do I lie? Do I tell the truth? Kind of situation.
Like that kind of conundrum,
right? So in a relationship setting where you're talking about anything based on the relationship or anything with someone, or even if you're just meeting someone for the first time, I think just total transparency is key. We're all kind of the same at the end of the day on the inside, I think, a little bit.
Right.
And that's all we want from each other, is really just kind of a little bit of realness. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're listening to your boy Q and, of course, Akira.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Akira with 2 Ks. We are on Urban Soul Radio on Q's Lounge. This is Major Lazer and Ellie Goulding with Powerful. My first drop.
All right, brother.
All right.
You are listening to Q's Lounge on Urban Soul Radio. That was Major Lazer featuring Ellie Goulding and Powerful, like the AKKIRA had announced earlier. He was like, man,
That
my
was
first
hard.
drop. He was like, I felt like I had to say a lot of things in a little bit of time. So next up, we are actually in a social session. We're going to be talking about 5 truths about today's music industry that indie artists need to understand. Falsehoods, myths, and misnomers about today's music business are very prevalent.
Fake Instagram profiles.
You know what I'm saying?
I love how all over we're going with everything. This is great. My brain is being activated.
That is all right.
I love it. So a common mistruth about the industry, oh man, is probably how you make your money.
Definitely.
Is just huge. I don't even know if I need to go into it, but that is just a huge mistruth.
Learn them, Akira. Learn them, AKKIRA. Well, see, you came back strong, man. I gotta say, I asked you the question, but you came back
I answered
strong. I can't even put you in the same realm as some of the artists that I've sat down with, and not that those artists weren't great at what they do, we're great at the craft, phenomenal singers, phenomenal rappers, or whatever it is. It's just the part of how do you get to the money. And somebody's going to discover you, and they're going to throw this money at you, and then you're going to get into the studio, and then you're going to become famous. That is the record industry of the past.
Yeah, that's a picture of the past for sure.
Absolutely.
Those things still happen in a totally different way. There's still tons of artists out there just balling out, doing whatever they want, spending their money, making their money, and just going crazy. And there are people doing that in the industry, and there's people doing it more, making more money now than ever in certain aspects of the industry, with new ways to endorse yourselves, and new ways to get sponsorships, and new ways to brand yourself, and new ways to just be on platforms and in millions of people's homes all at once.
Absolutely.
That was never existed before. All these things are changing the game, and really what people kind of are missing, not to just go on and on about it, but that music is merely just the backdrop to what's happening now. I mean,
Absolutely.
Being a musician isn't, you can be a musician that just does make music, but it's going to be really much harder for you to really monetize it and become a brand like you are imagining in your head, because you don't realize it, but that Michael Jackson or whatever you're picturing in your mind of the past artist, that it was a brand that took a long time to build, and a long time to tell him not to do this because you're going to ruin your image this way, and you're going to do that, and lots to it that people aren't thinking about in this day and age, because you're in control of your career. You're making your Instagram profile, you're making your Google SEO work or not, so it's up to you to make your footprint.
There would be
realistically,
there would be a lot more. There would be less industry and more innovation.
Everything comes into play nowadays. You're on a huge magnifying glass. Back then, it was whoever you stumbled upon that was talented enough.
Absolutely talented
That's what it
enough,
was.
or just game changing. Yep.
Whoever you physically encountered at the music venue, on the street outside the record label, wherever people would knock on the window of the record label back then and try to get a deal. I remember even as a kid thinking about doing stuff like that myself, and I actually did. At one point, younger or early in my career, I went to New York City and was in about 10 different record label offices in one day, just knocking on the doors, and they let me in and let me play the music. It was crazy. But honestly, ever since then, actually, I think about a year or two later, I remember they closed Capitol Records in Los Angeles. That didn't happen anymore. These labels are getting excavated, the buildings are being shut down, and they're turned into parking garages now, and record labels are being run out of people's living rooms on laptops, which is great. That's the way it should be, because that's all you need, really, to get your music out there and get your message out there. You just have to put it out there.
That's because it makes it authentic. It makes it, it's not one of those industry situations where well, this is hot, so we need you to look like this, and we need you to sound like that. And people, you don't have situations like your Princes and your Nas's, and where they're coming to an end of a contract, which of course Prince, he wasn't shy about saying how he felt. He felt like a slave at some point to the music industry, and once he got free of that, he just did his thing.
I remember when the labels were the monopoly and you couldn't make music unless you were on a label. I remember that feeling. I remember grinding to try and get that label, get that manager.
Fight for that love.
Fight for that love that ends up being fake and not lasting at all. And there's one person that's never going to give up on you, and that's you. And so if you just take a little bit of time to get yourself a .com, which is so important. You know, if you're on the street and you're talking about political climate, and you know you're wearing a something that you're wearing a monkey suit or something, it's like that doesn't relate to what you're doing. It's not the right branding. Your message isn't coming across the right way. Right. And people need to understand that in this day and age of communication, it's so important to make sure that your brand is on point. And any rapper, artist, up and coming pop star, anyone that you listen to right now is talking branding. There was a thing where you would order 1,000 CDs, and when you sold them all, you'd order another one. Right. And in my first band, we sold 1,000 discs. We either gave them out for free or we sold them on tour or whatever. And that was before live videos, live streaming, connecting with people on Facebook and all this. That was before that was really happening in the industry. So nowadays, it should only be easier for people. I think people are just enabled by their own kind of maybe, it goes deeper than just music industry. It's a personal thing, and branding is really just you know what I mean? It's just, well, how are you presenting yourself, which is really what people just need to focus on, are you bringing a relevant message that people care about, and are you being positive about it? You know? Are you bringing value to people? I think anyone will resonate with something like that. So in closing on that nice conversation, I really appreciate it. It's really good stuff here. It's good stuff. Free stuff. As an artist, you're a total package. You have a following. You have an actual following. So it's just some great stuff that we're talking about here on Q's Lounge, in the house with the AKKIRA, Akira in the house, sharing some great knowledge. Don't worry, I could get it. This is your boy Q, Lounge on Urban Soul Radio, in the house with the AKKIRA. What's going on, Akira? How you feeling tonight, my man? What's up? I'm feeling great. Every time I hear that, I feel a little bit better.
Every time. That's all right, man.
That intro.
Then I'll make sure.
That's catchy.
It's the AKKIRA.
It's even better that time. I swear.
What I'm saying?
I swear.
What I'm saying? Look, I could actually put, give you a little MP3, little snippet.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Little voiceover.
So I can sit, I'll send it to you. You can go ahead and throw it in.
For my live set.
Listen to the AKKIRA, or however you need me to do it.
Please.
I'm multi-talented.
That'd be amazing.
Multinational.
I know you are.
We are back here with Akira AKKIRA in the house. Man, we shared so much great information, so much great feedback, so much personal. Right?
Free
and
knowledge.
Not this that. I think out of a lot of the artists that I've worked with or know or whatever, from a social media standpoint, from a branding presence, you take the cake. I got to give you that. Which is
I'll eat it.
You eat it. Hey, go on ahead. You take the cake.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Honestly, thank you so much. It's just been a long road. A long time coming. I've just been wanting to do what I do my whole life. Right. So when it comes to that weird conversation about branding and getting yourself together, I've always been on that thought process. So for me, I never really had to learn too much about that. I just had to apply it. Apply that kind of knowledge. Right. And nowadays, I think they're just coming up with terms for things that we already know. Right. Like branding, content creation. Which is basically just doing what you're supposed to do.
What does that mean?
I want to be a content creator. Oh, so you'd like to do something. That's good, but what is it that you're going to create? Yes. It's so vague.
Yes.
So, and I don't hate on any of that. It's just because a lot of great people know that they want to create something and bring something great to the world. And as long as it's positive and inspirational, I say go for it. But it's interesting. It's interesting out there. And thank you for letting me kind of chat about some personal things. Interesting. I haven't had a chance to do that really since the album's coming out and everything, and I do have a special announcement for that, I guess, when the time is right, for tonight.
When the time is right, man. The time is now. Let's do it. Let's just go ahead and do it.
Should I give them my special announcement?
Give them the special announcement, my man.
The special announcement. This is something I've been actually kind of keeping secret for a minute, but now that we're nearing album release time, I'd like to announce that my album Planet X is actually going to be part 1 of a trilogy.
What?
Yeah, part 1 of a trilogy.
If I had the hand clap sound bite, I would be playing that. What?
I have that in my back pocket.
That is all right.
So I'm really excited. What happened was actually this album is called Planet X. It's my debut album as Akira. And I'm super excited about it. It's coming out on 12/12. We'll get into the details about what it means and everything.
Right.
But it actually was released already, like last April, and it came out and there was tons of tracks on it, and it was getting a little bit of traction, and then it started getting noticed, and I pulled it offline.
Why? Because
the message that it was portraying, and I guess I am really into this branding thing, the message it was portraying, the vibe it was giving off, the energy it was creating, I guess the energy it was just creating wasn't right for me, and I pulled it offline.
Right.
And I got some of the songs remixed. I took some songs off. Long story short, the one long album turned into 3 albums with all new material, remixes from people all across the world that have worked on the tracks now and remixed it. Everything's gotten totally remastered. It's being released in 3 parts. Features artists from all over the world, from different countries, singing on tracks.
Wow.
And then the really cool thing about the trilogy, which I can't get too into because as it unfolds, you'll learn more about why 3 albums are going to come out. But on the first album, I don't really sing that much on it. I sing a little bit on it, which is weird because I write all the songs, I produce everything, I make everything, right? And what I wanted to do was reach out to other singers, like from other countries, people that I've like never. I just had this vision of, if I'm gonna do an album, I want to do something that's gonna like involve other people, like because I had gone solo. And for anyone out there that knows what that's like, if you've been in a band situation, guilty, right?
And guilty.
I know you're an artist. You probably know all about that. Like, especially if you come from a band situation or something that had even like some success, and then you go solo, it can be very lonely. It's weird.
Right.
You do it, I think, at least for me, I went solo to kind of liberate myself from some of the problems I was having with inconsistencies with band members, maybe inconsistencies with planning, and I just knew that I had the energy to go 25 hours a day, and
man,
a lot
you
of
are stomping all around my room right now.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
So when it comes down to, you know, that you have this energy, and you, like, I don't want to pass the blame and say that I was being held back or anything, because I think only you can hold yourself back, but at the time, you know, I really just wanted to be solo. I mean, and it kind of happened out of nowhere. Like, I was almost ripped from my old project and was almost forced to go solo. So then I ended up enjoying it, and then I got kind of put into a situation where I started producing a lot, and I found some success producing for other people.
Nice.
And then that kind of turned into this whole new image of how I was going to release my own original music, because I had started working with other people and learning a lot of different vibes of working with people, even with different languages. I was like, I was like working with, you know, Spanish artists, and I was just starting to think like, man, like, I want my music to really reflect what's going on in my nation right now, especially with the cultural tension that's happening. I wanted to create an album that brought us together. There's no borders on my album. There's Spanish, there's Swedish artists, there's Indonesian on it. an artist named Brian. I found on Instagram. He's from East Java, Indonesia. I've never met him, but he sings on my first single.
That's all right.
And it's like a cool story. He sings half of it in English and half of it in Indonesian. You don't even know it when you're listening to it. You just think it sounds good. So it's like you don't even know it's happening to you because it's musically put together in a way.
Right.
But that's what I really wanted to do with the first album and that's why it's called Planet X. It's actually kind of like a play on words, kind of like funny, like Planet of the X's.
Planet of the
like
X's.
All the stuff I've been through and all the stories I'm telling have to do with exes. Not ex-girlfriends, but exes. Planet X, like the old planet, the old mentality, all the old crap I went through,
Right.
And that's what Planet X represents in an album. And then when we get to number 2, it's going to change. It's going to change.
Do I need to wait? Do we all need to wait for the name?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. Our minds are kind of in the same wheelhouse. So I have a thought about what it might be, but I'm not going to do that.
It's going to be kind of like a return to that album, but it's going to be done in a totally different way, in a more personal way, and I'm going to have a lot more of a voice on it.
That's all right.
So it's going to kind of develop like that. But the first one is coming out on December 12th, and it'll be available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube Music, Tidal, everywhere.
Now, is there a feature song that you feel best represents the album, or is it just again, like I say, a whole journey?
There's that represents the album. I'd say that no, because I was gonna say there's a song called Across the World, which is like one of the leading singles off the album,
right?
And it features an artist named Zach Benton from Los Angeles. He's amazing, and I would say that one, but it doesn't have the other languages in it. It doesn't have that difference, that dichotomy going on. So it has the right message, but then you take it a step further with songs like Crush, which features like the Indonesian artist, and a song like Gimme Gimme features Swedish pop artists singing about American materialism. It's just like,
right.
And it's just like stuff like that is what makes the album so blockbuster to me, so like worldwide,
right?
And that's why people have fun listening to it. I think because it's these different voices and this kind of party vibe. But
I think people in general are hungry. No.
Cacophony.
You have to understand. I closed my eyes and I was on Planet X, and
it's a pop album. It's seriously straight up pop, because I grew up with pop. I grew up on 50s, 60s, like doo-wop.
That's all right.
Like my first CD was the Golden Oldies, and I listened to it over and over.
Right.
So, but my album, this Planet X album, is a pop album. So you might hear the best EDM song you ever heard on that album. You might hear the best acoustic song you ever heard in the collection of Planet X, in the trilogy. You might hear an acoustic song that's your favorite. You might hear an acapella on there that's your favorite. You might hear a spoken word on there that's your favorite.
What?
You might hear exactly, but it's all done in a concise pop format, so you can hear it all and think that you just heard your favorite album,
right?
Not a mess, not a mixtape. It's not supposed to feel like a mixtape. It's supposed to feel like of using other voices and using your own voice at the same time, to create a palette.
Right. I actually went, again, I went straight to your website and I listened to Across the World, and I was like, yes.
Cool.
It took me that. I mean, it was one of those things. You close your eyes and you join. You get on the escalator of music and you ride it. Absolutely. With that, let's see. Without further ado, I know you brought a couple of songs for everybody out there to listen to.
Yeah, this is great. This is the first time we're doing This is it. This is the first radio premiere. But before we do, I have to say really quickly.
No problem.
Shout out to Ken HD. And he is who collaborated with me on this track. The exciting thing about re-releasing this album after I released it once is getting some stuff remixed by some of the dopest, awesomest producers I've met. And this guy's from Mississippi, and he's just generating just to me, it's the future of where beats are going,
Right.
And we're also working on kind of like a process of like the future of like how the whole monetization and consuming of beats in the future is going to go. So he remixed this track,
Nice.
and it's a Ken remix, and it's actually going to be a music video for this dropping super soon.
Is there anything before we go into the music, and you're going to introduce it? But is there any? What was the creation in the creation process? Was there anything that? What brought you to making Crush?
Oh man, this is a really cool story. I think I told first. I kind of said a little bit earlier. Like when I began this project, I decided I was gonna reach out to people from countries and things I didn't know of. And I was like, how do I do this? I post things on Craigslist. I was getting weird stuff. And then, so I'm just on Instagram, and I typed in like I forget what kind of hashtag. I don't know what it was. It wasn't Indonesia, I don't think. But he just popped up, like his voice, like a video of him singing popped up on the feed.
Right.
And I was like, instantly just
what?
And that happens, sometimes in passing you'll hear something and that's amazing, but then you just kind of like, well, what am I going to do with it? I can't do anything with that right now.
Right.
But this blew me away. There was something very special. He was young and like just something kill in the voice that is like years beyond like
his age and stuff like
just
that.
Had it. So I just DM'd him, and I didn't know
what was going to happen, right?
I didn't know anything. So then he ended up messaging me back on Instagram, and I had to learn some East Java language. I had to learn Indonesian. I had to learn some stuff. And then we ended up talking on the Telegram app, and I sent him the track. He ended up singing it. He knew enough English to sing it in English and stuff. So it was an across the world thing, a moment.
Beautiful.
And I've never met him, so it's super cool that people get to hear this kind of collaboration that we did. So with that being said, and if you want to know more, just go to KiraWorld.com. There's a whole documentary on actually how I made this particular song with Brian, and it's just called Akira World #1. It's the first episode, so it shows how we did it. You get to see what he looks like and stuff. So this is Crush featuring Brian Pranama from East Java, Indonesia. It's your boy Akira with 2 Ks.
It's like God is inside me. Come and die with me. We could be in heaven, no. When you roll with me, you are in control of me. Your love has got a hold of me. We could be in heaven, no. Crush me, come on and crush me. Come on and crush me. We could be in heaven, no. Crush me, come on, crush me. Crush me. We could be in heaven, no.
Q's Lounge on Urban Soul Radio. That was Crushed by Akira. Boys and girls, let's go ahead and get it up there. Oh,
Thank you.
man, when I could vibe and I could start doing my own little runs to it, because I was like, heaven, heaven.
Vibing. Yeah, you were vibing. It's one of those songs you just want to sing along.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Give it up. Give it
Thanks,
up.
man.
In studio high fives going on over here, downtown Long Beach. You are from, again. Let's go ahead and let's rewind this and
Sure.
tell people where you came from, where you were born, how you made it to Los Angeles. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Oh man.
On the heels of Crush, though. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how
sure.
I recover from that. But you know
With
how
the boring story of my past life. Yeah.
the boring story of my past life.
Oh man.
Well, guess what? It created the person that's sitting here today.
That's true. That it did. That it most certainly did. My beginnings, my story. Where do I start? Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I was born in New Jersey, and then I was born in Jersey, and then when I was very young, I moved into a trailer park in Pennsylvania, and then from there moved into a really big house in Pennsylvania.
The big house.
And lived there until I was about 18 or 19, where I taught myself how to play guitar, play piano, I took drum lessons. I took every music class I could take in school. I was really kind of like, I don't want to say introverted because I didn't have that kind of vibe, but I ended up keeping to myself a lot because I was honestly focused on my music and kind of building a business at a very young age. I don't know why, but I was 15, 16. I was skipping my music classes at that point in order to create Photoshop documents and create songs and create things that I knew were going to be assets to me, like in the future.
Wow.
And still
a 15-year-old knowing that's going to be assets. That's crazy. So it was actually a blessing that you ended up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Growing up in Jersey, I don't know, honestly, would you have had the same focus?
No.
Okay.
No, because knowing me now that I live in LA, I'm so distracted by the beach and anything that you can do. It's just like, I think amazing. It's like living in a vacation out here for me because we'd only go to the beach like once every couple of years where I'm from. You know? So every couple of years you'd go to South Carolina and it'd be like, oh my God, this is the beach. So I grew up in Pennsylvania, but something kind of crazy. Like I was in a band with my friends in high school, and we ended up going on we got like a manager when I was like 18. Some of us were still in school, and we ended up getting a manager from LA, and she put us on a U.S. tour, and we toured for 3 months. A couple of us had to leave school early, our drummer like graduated high school early, that whole deal, and we hit the road and we did it, and we went out for 3 months and we came back and we were successful. We got rid of all our albums and we killed it, and that's when I knew I was meant to do what I'm doing, because you don't just fall into those situations.
Absolutely.
A lot of times. So when you're just on the road and you're playing music and and it goes really well and it's really positive experience, and there were no weird issues or overdoses or conflicts or anything like that you had to deal with. It was all positive for me. Every touring experience I've ever had has been positive and good and growing. So I think that's what's really fueled me and to keep doing what I do. But I've wanted to do this forever. So growing up in Pennsylvania, I was on my first US tour at 18, 19. And that's when I knew, I said, well, I want to do more than just come back to Pennsylvania. And, my band at the time, they wanted to go to college, and, they had drama, girl drama, all that. So I said, I'm going to keep my options open. And this band in California asked me to be their lead singer. So I said, I'll go. And they were on a label. And I said, I'm going to try it. So I went. And we toured for 2 years straight. We went on Warped Tour for 3-4 weeks, opened for national acts, put out an album, worked with a award-winning producer, and just been doing it on the West Coast, you know?
Yeah.
So I went from the East Coast to the West Coast, and then after that I went back to the East Coast for a little bit, Then I went to Seattle for a little bit. And that's when I really went solo, was when I was in Seattle, just feeling the vibe up there, writing albums up there. I worked with like people that worked with Pearl Jam, people that worked with Death Cab for Cutie,
Beautiful.
Nirvana, all that, and some great experiences with producing. I've had a lot of great studio experiences, and I think that's why I've really turned into
Gravitated
like
towards that.
the producer
Right.
more than the singer, even though I do both
Right.
pretty much 50-50.
Right.
But I have to be on the controls. That's just
Understood.
like part of what I do, or else it just doesn't come out the right way. You know, there's something in the way you turn the knobs and the way you hear and the way you react.
What you hear, how you feel.
People need to be molded,
Right.
I think, and when artists come in and you're producing with them and you're molding, that's when you're creating real art. It's
Right.
like shaving off the wood or something. It's
Right.
like you're creating something.
Right.
And to be produced and like that is, I do that to myself. I do it with the artists that come in on my albums.
Nice.
And then they do it to me. So
Nice.
people will do it with me, and that's what creates, you know, what I do, I think, is that collaboration.
That's
you
sweet,
know?
man.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Dude, I have to tell you, like, again, all the independent whatevers. Again,
Fake Instagram
depth,
profiles.
you know, depth, all that other stuff. I mean, I'm talking about people to come in and sit down, and I mean, they're phenomenal singers, but they're missing all everything else, or they're phenomenal at everything else, and they're missing the actual, you know, time in the studio. I think they do a lot more of the hustle than, you know, what they need to do in the craft.
Yeah.
So I understand it's a fine line, but as far as your body of work, man, it shows, and it shows in your music, and I just have to say that.
Well, thank you so much.
So talk about Gimme.
Gimme.
These
These songs have so much, like, each song is like a freaking like blog post or something. It's like so long. It's like every song has its story, its origin, its background, the reason why it's on the album. Gimme is special because it's, how do I say, it really embodies what the album is about.
Right.
And what the album is about bringing cultures together, but there's a tension in the album, and that's what Gimme brings.
Okay.
Because songs like Across the World and Crush and all the other ones on the album, they're very uplifting, and they're very like, we've broken through it, we made it.
Right.
But Gimme is the one that brings you back to the Skid Row setting, or like the whoa, we're back here now. Like, this is real world. Like, there's real things happening. There are real issues we're talking about. And it's great because in that song, it's a very fun pop song.
Okay.
It sounds like sunshine almost when you hear it. It's a grooving song. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's very, very poetic, very punk rock with the lyrics. And the girl that sings on it, her name's Ina. She's a Swedish pop artist that I am actually friends with.
Nice.
And I'm producing her album. It's coming out soon.
Absolutely.
And
shout out to Ina.
Shout out to Ina. Heck yeah. And she sang on this track because like she's so diverse but so edgy and talented that I knew she had to sing this song. But what's so cool about this track is that she's like from Sweden, and she gives it this vibe that's so like someone from Sweden singing about American values is just so cool and weird. It's just so weird. So I love it. I don't know. And we're shooting a music video for this coming out soon.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, and real quick, actually something I'm so excited about. I don't even know how this happened, but that song is nominated for a Hollywood Music and Media Award this year for Best Pop Song.
Nice,
So
man. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Another high five in the
Thank you.
studio.
That's
Let's
third
get it.
one. Third one, I think. I'm counting. So,
Right.
so we're nominated for a Hollywood Music and Media Award. It's a pretty big award in Hollywood, and it's nominated for Best Pop Song. And yeah, we're gonna go there, be on the red carpet, and
That's what I'm talking about.
cross
man.
your fingers. So yeah,
Man, yeah.
yeah.
Like Denzel saying, I'm still winning.
Exactly. I'm with that. I'm so with that. And that's really actually nicely ties up almost everything we've been talking about.
Absolutely.
You're always winning as long as you're with you and
Right.
what you're supposed to be doing. You're always winning. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So go ahead and bring in the next song, my man. Gimme.
This is your boy Akira with 2Ks, and this is my song Gimme Gimme featuring Ina off the album Planet X, coming out 12/12/2017, part 1 of a trilogy. That's what's up.
You're listening to Q's Lounge on Urban Soul Radio. That was none other than the AKKIRA.
It was. I spaced out for a second. I was like, oh, that was a good song. Who was that? I totally wasn't even.
Well, that is perfectly fine. Absolutely. I was trying to tell everybody that you guys need to check it. You know, I listened to it for about 45 seconds. I was like, yes.
Thank you.
I feel it. It grabbed me, and I went along with it, and I kind of started moving with it. And then, you know, the test, you know, the real test is I let my daughter listen to it to see how she responds.
Yeah, because they don't lie.
No, not at all.
And how'd it go?
She started boogieing, man. I was like, okay, invite him on the show. And, this has been a great night, man.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Shout out to all the new listeners and everyone on the radio.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. Dude, I can't even begin to, again, thank you for coming tonight and sharing this moment, you know, sharing your music, sharing your knowledge of the game with everybody out there. And I think you have a lot to say. You have a lot to offer musically. But definitely, I really appreciate it. I love the music. I think you're going to do a lot of great things out here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
What I want to do now is just offer up a few moments for you to, you know, tell them, you know, what would be your closing thoughts for people out there listening right now?
Closing thoughts. I'd like to leave everyone with this thought. Be sure of what your message is, because it definitely affects more and causes more to happen than you realize. So I think everyone's message and intention is what is ultimately most important. And I feel stoked that I'm really happy I could come on here and kind of give you guys a little insight on my message and everything. So thank you so much.
We appreciate that. Now, for sure, the marketing.
Yes.
Your album releases again, and where they can find you.
PayPal. Just PayPal, guys. That's the only place I am. Okay, so quick shout out to the links. A few things have changed just slightly, but basically at I am Akira with 2 Ks, so AKKIRA. At I am Akira on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And then, of course, if you want to get even more into the world of Akira, you can follow at Akira World on Snapchat. And also, if you want to take it a step further or make it a whole lot easier, just go to akiraworld.com, sign up for free right there, and then everything just gets sent straight to you. So
that's hot stuff, man. I do appreciate you. And in closing for your boy Q, for all that is good in life, my family, my friends, my new friend A to the double KIRA, my associates, my divided country. God has placed all the greatest experience in life on the other side of fear. So get out there, be fearless. Love what you do what you love. This is your boy Q of Q's Lounge. I'm about to sign off with none other than AKKIRA up in the house. We appreciate you, we love you, and have a great night. Later.
thank you. Nice. Good work, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Walking out of the building. Thank you so much, Shaquan.
Man,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you, Akira. I appreciate you for coming and chilling with your boy.
Thank you, man. See you.
Check out Q's Lounge now.